Hi everyone, I'm Miss Shirley, and in today's video, I'm going to discuss question 21 until 30 for past year SPM 2024, paper 1. Let's look at question number 21. So this question is on matrices. Okay, let's read the question. It is given that matrix K is, so this is the first element, this is second element, and matrix L is, this is first element and this is second element. Find the value of x and the value of y if k is equals to L. So I'm going to compare the elements. So this is the first element, this is the first element. So I'm going to compare, put them together. So negative 13 plus x over 3 equals to negative 3. So this 3 I'm going to bring over. So negative 13 plus x equals to negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. So x is equals to negative 9. So negative 13 bring over to the right hand side will become plus. So plus 13. Okay, so 13 minus 9, so we'll get 4. So x is 4. Okay, let's look at the options A, B, C, D. Okay, so C and D, which means that A, B, incorrect. Okay, so at least we narrow down the answer. So it's either C or D will be the final answer. Okay, now we have to find the value of y. So I'm going to use the second element here, make it equals to 20. Okay, so 4y minus x equals to 20. Okay, so this, okay, we already gotten 4 as your x. So I'm going to substitute 4 inside here. Okay, so 4y minus 4 equals to 20. Okay, so 4y equals to, so negative 4 bring over become plus 4. So 20 plus 4 is 24. Okay, so y equals to, so 4 times y is 24. So 24 divided by, so whenever you shift the 4 over, it becomes divide, okay? Times, divide, times, divide, okay? So 24 divided by 4 is 6. So y is 6. Okay, A, B, C, D, the answer is D. Let's look at question number 22. This is on polygons. So for this question, they give you a pentagon, okay, which is PQRST, and QVU, STU, and PVT are straight lines. So we can see that this pentagon has 5 sides, right? So for this question, when it comes to polygons, you need to know the formula to find the sum of angles in a polygon and how to find each interior angle of the polygon. Okay, so what's the formula to find the sum of angles in a polygon? Okay, the formula is n minus 2 bracket times 180. So this is to find the sum of angles in a polygon. So for this case, pentagon has how many sides? Pentagon has 5 sides, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sides. Okay, so I'm going to find what is the sum of angles in the pentagon first. So 5 minus 2, and then times 180. Okay, so this will be 3 times 180 is 540. So this is the sum for all the 5 interior angles. But what if I only want one interior angle, which is here, or here, or here? Okay, so here, which means that I need to use 540 divided by 5, and I will get 108. Okay, so this is 540 divided by 5. So each interior angle is 108, 108, and this is 108. Okay, and then in order to find the adjacent angle here, so I use 180 because angle in a straight line, let's say like this, okay, for example. So let's say this is 108. So to find the adjacent, I'm going to use 180 minus 108, which is 72, right? So this is 72 degrees, okay? That's 72 degrees. So we got that already. Then we can also find this adjacent angle. One side is 130, so the adjacent angle will be 180 minus 130, which is 50, right? So this is 50. So now we are going to concentrate on VUT, yeah? So I'm going to draw it out here so that it's easy for you to see because the diagram is a bit small. So here, just now we got 72, right? And then here is the x which we are going to find, yeah, because it's stated in the question. And then this is 50 degrees. So as we all know, the sum of angles of a triangle is 180, right? So the sum is 180. So in order to get what is x, I'm going to use 180 minus the other 2 angles. Okay, so minus 72 degrees and minus 50 degrees. Okay, let's see what we get. So 180, let's use a calculator. Okay, minus 72 and minus 50. And then we'll get 58. Okay, so equals to 58. And let's look at the options A, B, C, D. The answer is B. Let's look at question number 23. So this question is on loci in 2 dimensions. So remember, when did you learn this chapter? In Form 3, right? Okay. So, but it came out in SPM 2024, which means that you have to revise back the important topics from Form 1 to Form 3, and because they might come out in your paper 1, yeah? Okay, let's look at question 23. Okay, a contestant, okay, this is diagram 8, shows the combinations of 4 squares with the sides. Okay, size is 2 meters each in a game. So 2 meters, 2 meters, 2 meters, 2 meters, all 2 meters, 2 meters, 2 meters, and 2 meters. Okay, so a contestant of the blue team moves equidistant from point L and point N. Where is L and N? L, N. So which means that the line will be a perpendicular bisector here. Okay, so this is the locus for the first one, for blue team. Okay, for blue team. Okay, let's continue. So what else they say? Okay, at the same time, a contestant of the red team moves 2 meters constantly from point S. Okay, so from one point, so it's 2 meters from one point, so the locus is a circle. Okay, where is S? S here, so we treat this as a center of the circle. Okay, so it's going to be like 2 meters from S. Okay, so this is a circle, yeah? So it's 2 meters. From here to here, the radius is 2 meters. Okay, so now what's the question? Determine the intersection point between the paths of blue team and red team contestants. Okay, so where is the intersection between the red and the blue? So the red is a circle, the blue is the line, the straight line here, right? So the intersecting point will be here. Okay, this is M. Okay, this is M, yeah? And then this is Q. So M and Q. Okay, M and Q. So let's look at the options A, B, C, D. Okay, we have M, but we don't have Q. But it's fine because they want you to choose only one answer. So the answer is A. Let's look at question number 24. Okay, so this chapter is transformation. Okay, transformation. And it's related to enlargement. Okay, let's read the question. Diagram 9 shows 2 triangles, 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 drawn on square grids. Triangle 2 is the image of triangle 1. So triangle 1 is the object, okay, object under an enlargement. Okay, which of the points A, B, C, or D is the center of the enlargement? Okay, so in order to find the center of enlargement, I'm going to connect the corresponding points. That is from here to here. And another one is from here to here. Okay, so let's use ruler and pencil and draw a line, connect them together. So make the line longer because we're going to find the lines of intersection. Then these 2 red points, I'm going to join them together. And then at which point do the 2 lines intersect? At where? So they intersect at C, correct? Okay, so therefore the center of enlargement is C. Okay, so that's the answer. Let's look at question number 25. So this question is on perimeter. Okay, diagram 10 shows a plot of land in the shape of a trapezium owned by Nora. She divided the land into 3 congruent sections to be planted with different types of trees. So we have rambutan, mango, and pineapple. So if she wants to fence the mango section only, so mango section only, calculate the length of the fence needed, which means that we need to calculate what is the perimeter of this section. Okay, so we need to know all the 4 sides, and then we add up together. So, okay, let's see the measurements given here. We have 120 here, so this is 120, and then 48 here, which means this is also 48. Okay, but we need to find what is this. This is the same as this and this, right? So I'm going to use 192 is for the whole thing on the right hand side. So I'm going to use 190 and then minus off the 48 in the middle, and then I divided by 2. Okay? So I get 72 each here. 72, 72. Therefore, here is also 72. So next is I need to find what is this line. I label as H. Okay? It's like hypotenuse of a right angle triangle. So I create a right angle triangle here so that I can find what's the hypotenuse. Okay, so here. So we know that this is 48, right? So this small little section here, okay, is how much? So 72 minus 48, so we get 24 here. This is 24, okay? So we got 120 and we have 24. So let me draw it out here so you guys can see clearly how's the triangle look like. Yeah. Okay. So this is 90 degrees. So the h is here, right? So here is 120 and this is 24. So to find h, I'm going to use Pythagoras theorem. So remember the formula? So remember? C squared equals to a squared plus b squared, right? So in order to find c, which is the hypotenuse, I'm going to square root a squared plus b squared. Okay? So here is a, here is b, and here is c. Yeah? So I'm going to use, to find c or h, I'm going to use 24 squared, then plus 120 squared, and then I square root it. Okay, let's see what we get. So 24 square, and then plus 120 square, get the answer, and then you square root it, answer equals. Okay, so you get this right. Okay, so you can give your answer in decimal because you can see, as you can see here, A, B, C, D, the options are in decimal and 2 decimal places. So let's change this to decimal number. So we're going to press SD button. SD button is above the DEL delete button. So press. Okay, so you see here, 122.38. We're going to take round up to 2 decimal places. 122.38. Okay, so this is 122.38. Yeah, so which means that this is 122.38. Okay, so now we have all 4 sides of the trapezium. This, okay, 120 plus 48 plus 122.38 and plus 72. That is going to be the answer. Okay, let's calculate. So what is the perimeter? Okay, perimeter is 120 plus 48 and plus 122.38 and then you plus 72. Okay, let's calculate, yeah? Okay, so 120 plus 48 and then plus 122.38 and then plus 72. Okay, so this is in fraction. So you got to change it to decimal. Press SD button. So 362.38. So 362.38 as in meter, in meter. So the answer is ABCD is C. Okay, that's the answer. Let's look at question number 26. So this is on transformation and related to translation and reflection. So if you look at the answers given, it's either reflection or translation, right? Okay, let's read on. Diagram 11 shows 3 trapeziums drawn on square grids. So we have P, Q, and R. So trapezium R is the image of P under a combined transformation UV. Okay, which means that you have to do V first and then only do U. Okay? So here from P, okay, P is the object and R is the image. Okay? So it has to go through Q first. So which means that from P go to Q and then Q go to R. And we need to know what type of transformation from P to Q and Q to R. So from P to Q is actually a reflection. Okay, and we have to find where is the line of reflection. Okay, let me see. So the line of reflection is this way. Okay, this line. So when it's 2, -2. Okay, when it's 8, -8. Okay, and then here 8, -8. So I'm going to use a ruler and join them together to get a line of reflection. Okay, line of reflection here. Okay, so we got a very nice line of reflection here. Okay, so this line is y equals to -x. Why? Because when x is 8, y is -8. When x is 6, y is -6. Okay, so it satisfies this equation. Okay, so this is the line of reflection. Yeah, it's a reflection. Okay, then from Q to R. Okay, from Q to R, okay, the shape of the trapezium and the direction is the same. So then it will be translation. Okay, let's calculate. So I'm going to pick the point of the corresponding point here to here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it goes to the right hand side by 10 units and then it goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it goes down by 5. So it's -5 because it's going down. So the translation is 10, -5. Okay? So let's look at the options given A, B, C, D. So the first one is reflection, reflection, reflection. Y equals to -x, y equals to -x. So C and D incorrect because it's reflection, not translation first. And then for U will be translation. So translation of 10, -5. So 10, -5. And then this -10, 5, no. So the answer confirmed is A. Okay? Let's look at question number 27. This is on trigonometric functions. Okay, sine, cos, and tangent. So in diagram 12.1 and 12.2, point P lies in the arc of a unit circle. So this P in the first quadrant and this P is in the second quadrant. So find the value of cos theta. So where is theta? Theta here. So which means that this is in the second quadrant. Okay, if I were to draw the quadrants, so there are 4 quadrants here. First quadrant is here. So A, all science teachers crazy. Don't tell that to your science teacher, okay? So P is here. So this is second quadrant. So second quadrant, only sine is positive. The rest are all negative, okay? Cos and tangent negative. So which means that if they ask you to find the value of cos, definitely the answer will be negative. So we cross out all the positive answers. So A is incorrect and B is incorrect. So it's either C or D, okay? At least we have already narrowed down our answers. So our chances of getting it correct will be 50-50, okay? So here, cos theta. Okay, so I'm going to draw a triangle here. I'm going to make a triangle. Okay, like this. So I'm going to refer to the left-hand side for reference because the P is given 0.57 and 0.82, okay, which means that the x here is 0.57. So if it's on the left-hand side, here will be -0.57, okay, and then the height is 0.82, so here is 0.82, okay. So here cos, so okay, from here to here is 1, right? So when it turns, so from 0 to P is also 1, okay, means that this is the hypotenuse. Okay, so you know SOHCAHTOA, okay, to find cos is adjacent side over hypotenuse. Okay, where is the adjacent side? Adjacent side is the one that is next to the reference, next to the angle, okay, which is the reference angle. So this A, and this is the opposite side, okay, and this is the hypotenuse. So A over H, so the A is -0.57, and then hypotenuse is 1. So the answer is -0.57. Okay, let's look at A, B, C, D, C or D. The answer is D. Let's look at question number 28. So this question is on trigonometric functions. Diagram 13 shows the graph of y equals to sine x. Okay, so it's from 0 to 360. This is the graph of sine x. So what is the coordinate of point Q? Point Q. Okay, where is Q? Q is over here. Okay, so let's recap back what we learned about trigonometric functions. So we learned about the 4 quadrants, right? Okay, so this is the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. Okay, so the first quadrant is from 0 to 90. Then second quadrant is from 90 to 180. Third quadrant is from 180 to 270. Then the fourth quadrant is from 270 to 360 degrees, right? Okay, so remember, all science teachers crazy. So in the first quadrant, all sine, cos, tangent must be positive. Then for the second quadrant, only sine is positive, cos and tangent negative. So for the third quadrant, only tangent is positive, sine and cos negative. Then for the fourth quadrant, only cos is positive, the rest negative. Okay, so from here in this graph, so this will be the first quadrant, this will be the second quadrant, this will be the third quadrant, and this will be the fourth quadrant. Okay, so what is the value of Q here? So they give us, okay, here you see y is, okay, this y is sine x, sine x. So sine x, the value is -half. Okay, -half. So I'm going to work it out here. So which means that y, okay, y equals to sine x. So this is -half, right? So I'm going to write here as -half. Okay, -half equals to sine x. Okay, let me swap it around. Okay, so when the sign is negative, and it means that it's in the third quadrant, because third quadrant is only tangent is positive. Okay, so we will know that our answer in degree, the angle must be between 180 to 270. Okay, and our x, okay, our y is negative 0.5. Okay, so let's look at the options first. A, B, C, D. Our y must be negative 0.5. So here, C or D, which means that our A answer incorrect and B answer incorrect. Okay, so here is 225, here is 210, both also in quadrant 3. Okay, so which means that we need to work out the actual answer. So let's look at the calculator. Use the calculator. So you find what is x. Okay, so x is sine, okay, shift sine of half. So when we press the calculator, we don't have to take note of the negative because that one is for us to determine the angle is in which quadrant only. Okay, so shift sine of half. Okay, so you can use 0.5. Yeah, so our answer is 30. So 30 is in the first quadrant. So if it's in the third quadrant, then we have to use 180 plus 30. Okay, so which means that our answer is, so 130, okay, 30 plus 180, so we will get 210. So the answer is 210. Answer is A, B, C, D, D. Let's look at question number 29. So this is on logical reasoning. Okay, study the following statement. So they give you a statement, if 3 is a root of x squared minus 9 equals to 0, then 3 is not a root of x plus 3, x minus 3 equals to 0. So here, I let this to be P and this is Q. Okay, so if P then Q, that is a statement. So if P then Q, right? Okay, so here, we have to know three things. So let's recap back what we learned. So if they give you a statement, okay, which is if P then Q. So we need to know three things. The first thing is converse, second inverse, and third contrapositive. Okay, so here we have three things. So when it's converse, it means that if Q, then P. Okay, so we just swap it around. So we mention Q first and then P. For inverse, if not P, then not Q. Okay? And then for contrapositive is if not Q, then not P. Okay? So let's look at the answers given. Implication. Okay, for A, implication, if 3 is a root of x plus 3 equals to 0, x plus 3, x minus 3 equals to 0, then 3 is not a root of x squared minus 9 equals to 0. So this is not the answer. Okay, converse. So converse is if Q then P. So if Q then P, if 3 is a root of x squared minus 9 equals to 0. So if you see the question, if 3 is a root of x squared minus 9 equals to 0. So it should be the Q first, right? You have to mention Q first. Okay, so this one is incorrect. Okay, incorrect. So for C, okay, inverse. So inverse is if not P, then not Q. So if it's not P, which means that 3 is not a root of x squared minus 9 equals to 0, right? Okay, so if 3 is not a root of x squared minus 9 equals to 0. Okay, so then 3, let's look at the question. 3 is not a root. So opposite of it is 3 is a root of, okay, 3 is a root of x plus 3, x minus 3 equals to 0. So this is the answer. Okay, the answer is C. Okay, let's double check for D. Okay, contrapositive is if not Q, then not P. So not Q, so here is not, then here must be yes. But here is written not, so it's incorrect. So this is confirmed that the answer is not this, not D. Okay, so confirm that the answer is C. Let's look at question number 30. So question 30 is on volume. So diagram 14 shows the first 3 arrangements of cones of the same size. So in the first picture, we can see there are 3 cones. Second picture, 5 cones. Third picture, 7 cones. Okay, let's continue reading. It is given that the diameter is 6 cm and height is 7 cm. So if diameter is 6 cm, therefore the radius is half of it, which is 6 divided by 2 is 3 cm. And then the height is given as 7 cm. So calculate the total volume in cm cube of the cones in the 6th arrangement. So this is the first arrangement, second, and this is third. So I'm going to make a new sequence. So first is 3, second is 5, third is 7. So you can see the pattern. To get the next term, you need to plus 2. Okay, so 5 plus 2, 7. 7 plus 2, you get 9. And then 9 plus 2, you get 11. 11 plus 2, you get 13. So we already got the sixth term. So this is the first term, second, third, fourth, fifth, and this is 6. Okay, which means that in the sixth term, there will be 13 cones in the diagram. Okay, 13 cones. So now they ask us to find the total volume of 13 cones. Okay, so what is the formula for volume of a cone? 1/3 times pi r square h, right? Then we have to times 13 to get the volume of 13 cones. So equals to 1/3 pi. So we remain pi as pi because in the options given, all in terms of pi. So we don't have to times 22/7 or 3.142, okay? So pi, then r square. R square is 3, r is 3, and then square. Then the height is 7, and then times 13, okay? So here, let's use the calculator. 1/3 times 3 square is 9, so times 9, times 7, then times 13. Okay, so we have 273 pi, and the unit for volume is cm cube. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, let's look at ABCD. The answer is D.